Hello, and welcome back to Halle Ray Inspires. I want to thank everyone who's been so encouraging. Your support fuels me with the energy and courage to share this information. And today, I thought I'd share with you the angelic encounters I've experienced throughout my life. These are all part of the memories that returned to me when I experienced my awakening during my 40s. Before I begin, I just want to mention that if you've subscribed to my channel, to check that you're still subscribed. I had two channels on YouTube, so I deleted one of them. This is now my official one. So please like, share, and subscribe. And thanks. But that aside, let's get back to my encounter with angels. I've always loved angels' stories. When I was young, I would read everything I could get my hands on about them. I loved the idea of having someone watching over me who loved me unconditionally and was always there in times of need. I always believed in them, and I literally think they have saved my life on several occasions. I want to share some of these stories with you today in the hope that you too start to believe, feel, and experience their presence if you do not already. I want to say that I consider my memories of my near-death experience, past lives in other realms, and encounters with otherworldly beings a gift imparted to me, not because I'm anyone special, but more for the purpose of sharing with people what each of us is capable of becoming as the new human of the new earth. The veil of forgetfulness lifted, the separation between man and the higher realms removed. We will all see, hear, and walk amongst our families from the stars, from home. And Earth will now be a galactic home, a home of peace, where Source, God, is at one with us and the Earth. So let me begin with some of the stories that have shown me that this is real. I shared in my interview with Sarah Shook that I could see my guides around my crib as a baby. And as I grew, I lost that ability. But I remained always curious. I knew there was something more than we could see. And I would ask my mom about angels, God, and heaven all the time. Okay, I was a weird kid. But back then, kidnapping was a real threat and all over the news, like Patty Hearst and stuff. So I asked my mom, what should I do if ever I was in trouble and could not reach her? And she said, you pray. You ask God to protect you. He'll hear you and send help. So one day, around 7 years old, maybe 6, I was walking home from school with my neighbor and friend. I'll call Connor, who I had known since I was 4. Anyway, Connor and I began to feel pelting of gravel and pebbles being thrown at us from behind. And when we looked back, it was the neighborhood bully. I'll call Lou. Lou owned a new bronze-colored Huffy bike with a banana seat and high curved handlebars with wide tires. Some of you may remember these. Connor grabbed my hand and we began to run. And I covered myself with the only thing I had available, a Scooby-Doo lunchbox. Connor said, I know a shortcut to my house. Follow me. But Lou was faster on his bike. Skidding in front of the path, blocking us, Lou picked up a big rock and aimed it straight at Connor. My friend crouched down in fear, defenseless. And suddenly I remembered what my mom had said, ask God for help. So I closed my eyes, prayed, and heard a voice say, stand in front of him. Shaking, I stepped in front of Connor and spread my arms side to side. Lou tossed the rock and yelled at me, move, Allie. I don't want to hurt you. This is between him and me. But if you don't move, I'll still throw it. He then tossed the stone in the air, picked his nose, and ate it. I was so scared, but just shook my head. No. Suddenly, Lou grew dead pale and dropped the rock. Where did they come from? He asked. He then tore off on his bike. Confused, I asked Connor what happened. And he shrugged. He goes, I don't know. It must have been those two guys standing next to you. I asked, what guys? And he said, you didn't see them? Two big guys showed up and stood next to you, he said, pointing to either side of me. I had seen no one. Connor and I then walked to the end of the driveway, only to catch a glimpse of Lou pedaling up the street at top speed before turning into his family's driveway, dropping his bike and running into his house. Connor and I looked both ways up and down the street, but didn't see either man. I went home and thought nothing of it until my mother walked into my room and said she had just gotten a call from Connor's mom. And I told her the whole story. And that day, I believe Connor, Lou, and I all experienced something other, something mystical, magical, something I can now share with all of you so that you too can believe that it really is as simple as ask and you shall receive. I think those men were angels because that's what I was told when I was 22 and had another visitation. But this one was far from angelic, at first, anyway. Again, I was with my childhood friend, Connor, who had become my boyfriend. And we were home alone, talking, when I suddenly heard an evil laugh. It honestly sounded like Vincent Price. You know, literally the wah ha 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 ha. I asked Connor if he heard anything, and he said no. So I disregarded it, even though I knew I was hearing something. But I said nothing more because I didn't want Connor to think I was crazy. But I kept hearing it. And suddenly Connor said, okay, so I heard that. And I said, oh my gosh, do you think the room is haunted? And we're sitting there just looking around, and then it appeared. A demon. To my shock and amazement, he looked a lot like the animated pictures you see of a red being with a cape and horns. Really, minus the pitchfork. My first reaction was to scream, and I yelled, God, help! Just came out of me. And the demon literally laughed. He's not coming to save you. No one is. Besides, I'm God. For the sake of time, I'll just say my fear quickly turned to anger, and for several minutes I argued with him about how and why I would never believe that. The demon then informed us that Lou was supposed to hit Connor in the head with a rock that day and kill him. But I had interfered. He then threatened me, and it was Connor this time who stood in front of me and warned the demon to leave me alone. With a quick point of a finger, Connor fell back unconscious on the couch. I screamed, thinking he was dead. "Oh, don't worry," the demon said mockingly. "He's just unconscious. For now. But unless you want me to kill him for real, I'll make a deal with you. I'll spare him if you give me your soul." Then he looked startled and annoyed and said, "They must have heard you." Confused, I asked who, when another being suddenly appeared. He wore a gold robe, and thinking he was Jesus, I immediately dropped to my knees. "Get up," he commanded me. "Do not worship me." I was so confused. I thought you were Jesus," I explained. "I am not. I was sent here to help you," he said. "Hello, Gabriel," the demon interjected. "How did you manage to get through the trap I arranged?" "It merely slowed me down a minute, but I took care of it," Gabriel responded. "Now be gone, Prince of Persia. I command you in the name of God." "Fine, I'll go," the demon said, and then looking at me continued, "But I'll be back for you." I was shaking and thanked the angel, asking if Connor was okay. "He's fine," Gabriel said, "just sleeping, but it's you I want to speak with." He spent what must have been almost an hour speaking to me about my life, my purpose, my mistakes. He explained that an ascension was going to happen. So I asked him when, but he said that even the angels didn't know for sure. Only God knew the exact time, but that Gabriel's job would be to make a sound that the whole world would hear. I asked him if that was why he was depicted as blowing a horn, and he laughed, saying yes, he supposed so. He also told me not to fear death. He said, smiling, "You humans have it all backwards. You celebrate birthdays and mourn death, fully unaware that this isn't your home. When you die, you return to your real family and friends just waiting for you with a party. It's a beautiful experience, really. Earth," he explained, "is a very difficult place. This is not where you want to be, Allie, but that will all change at the time of ascension, the golden age." That is one of my most cherished memories. I have a blonde kitten that I named Gabriel in memory of it. Occasionally, I connect with Gabriel during meditation, and he's encouraged me to do this work, to share my stories. So I am. Crazy as it all seems, but I know that I'd rather seem crazy than to explain to God one day that I was too embarrassed of what people may think of me than to speak about these miracles, this gift. It's meant to be told. It's meant for people to hear, to know the truth. And it's a wonderful truth. Truly good news. And I think we could all use some of that right now. anyway. As I always say, fitting in is highly overrated. Be yourself. Don't worry what anyone else thinks of you. Just strive to be the best and truest version of who you really are.